Radical.
Very often I'll actually wind up falling asleep as I'm listening to something, whether it be some music in the background or a YouTube upload, something like that. And if I have my autoplay on, I'll wake up and then it'll be playing a completely different upload that has nothing to do with what I originally uh, was listening to when I fell asleep. I think it's kind of funny though. I'll just wake up and I'm like, what the hell is it on the NBA channel? They're showing highlights from an old championship game, or it'll be some freaking cooking tips or something like that. I'm not a good cook, by the way. I'm trying to learn how to become a good cook. So YouTube's been pretty awesome for that, and the sheer amount of things that are on YouTube to watch and listen to is kind of staggering. There's one thing I never thought I would see, and that's the return of The Rock. Well, it's two things. There's probably more than two things. There's a lot of things. The return of Rock to WWE, which is pretty freaking cool. If you grew up in an era where The Rock was laying the smacketh down, it's really fun to have these big returns. The familiarity, just like when a movie series comes back or some actors come back to play a role or a video game series comes back, it brings on the nostalgia feels. Well, Jon Stewart is back. Not only is he back, but he's hosting The Daily Show, which was one of the best satire shows of its time. And then later on, Trevor Noah, whoever the hell that was, and some other people tried hosting the show, and it was never the same. Never the same. Sometimes you just cannot replace a show with a different host and have the same result. Jon Stewart, he ran The Daily Show. He was The Daily Show. It was linked to Jon Stewart. The fact that he even wanted to continue The Daily Show after he left was kind of eye-raising. Jon Stewart is very funny. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but fuck, you can say it about everybody, Not everybody's going to find this man funny. I think he's hilarious, along with other people like Dave Chappelle. I think they're just hilarious, right? But the weird thing about, not that Dave Chappelle doesn't occasionally talk about politics and things like that, he kind of like veers away from it. A lot of people don't like Jon Stewart because of the whole political thing. People get very political, and then they don't like anybody that even dares to talk about anything political or to favor certain sides at some times. I get it. People get fiercely loyal to their political parties. They do. Just like they get fiercely loyal to their Xbox, their PlayStation, their Pepsi, their Coca-Cola. I know it's a little bit different because there's different parties that have different policies and different things, I'll go on record, I agree and disagree with certain policies from different parties. I think there needs to be more viable parties than just two, because sometimes you get a situation to where both parties choose somebody that just should not be running for the job of the most powerful leader in the free world, and that would be the president of America. And we have a time coming up right now, I personally believe, where, even if you like or dislike some of the candidates, well, basically two of the candidates, I don't follow it a whole lot. I don't know if everything's over and, the parties have chosen their candidates, but pretty much it's going to come down to Trump and Biden. Again, a rematch of epic proportions. But I personally don't think that two people that are at 80 or beyond 80 should be anywhere near the presidency. That's my personal belief. I don't think Trump or Biden should be running for president in 2024. You might disagree. I don't think they should be. Because, you see, I work at the flea market. I have a store at the flea market on the weekends. And I can't tell you the last person that was 80 or above that I've met at the flea market that I would say, hey, you know what? I think that person needs to be the most powerful person in the free world. I think that person needs to be running America. I've never, but there's a lot of people, a lot of very intelligent, sharp people that I've come across that are maybe like, 50 or 60 that I talk to there. And I go like, you know what? You probably would be better at running the country. Now, I have come across a lot of 50 or 60 or possibly maybe 70-year-olds. I mean, it's kind of stretching it. Where I've talked to and I said, you know what? You would probably do a much better job running the country than Trump or Biden. I know a lot of you probably love these candidates, but really sit down for a moment and think about it. Take your personal love away from somebody, your personal love, and really kind of think about it and how when people are older, they seem to slide. Their cognitive ability slides, and that's just part of everything. In most cases, when we get older, we're not as quick as we used to be. There's no instance anywhere where somebody, went from 70 to 80 to 90 and they became better versions of themselves quicker mentally than they were, because it is a real thing. I don't think that anyone should be running at 80, 85, 90 years old. I just don't personally think that. And we're at a stage right now where these are, age-wise, record-breaking candidates. Before, we've never had to deal with this. There have never been candidates this old. Years back, when McCain ran, what was he, like 74? A lot of comedians like Chris Rock were joking about, how old he was and how someone that old should be nowhere near the presidency. But now we have people that are going to be, let's say, if Biden finishes his term, he's going to be 85. 85. I'm whispering now. That's one thing I saw him do just out of nowhere. He started whispering into the mic and he started looking around with that dead stare. I'm like, the fuck is this guy, right? He never did that before. He never had that weirdness about him on the mic before. He was sharp, man. If you look back, even just 10 years ago, I think there was a debate he had with someone younger. I think it was Paul Ryan, I believe. He was sharp. He was quick-witted. He actually easily won that debate. Say what you will. I mean, maybe a lot of you like Paul Ryan, thought he won the debate. How do I know about that? Well, I mean, I used to watch The Daily Show. So normally I never even cared or followed politics because, well, I think the whole system is corrupt. I think both sides are incredibly dirty. Like I said, I'm more for more parties, but I don't think that would be the case. I think there's deep fundamental flaws within both parties, and it's pretty fucking shitty that as Americans, we really only get two choices. That's all we get. And it's usually, weirdly, the worst people that wind up running for president.